Good morning, everyone. I want to take a break from timeline stuff and kind of revisit perfectionism. I know that I did a video earlier on, and it was years ago, so I don't even remember what I said on it. Oh, the wind is bad today. But I kind of want to revisit it. Now, I've never claimed to be perfect. To be honest with you, I have learned that perfect is boring. But growing up, I saw the different kinds of relationships and everything, and I guess I idealized this perfect image in my head of what I wanted in life. Maybe it was just the dumb dreams of a kid going through all this other kind of trauma, lying to herself, telling herself that one day things would be different. And when that day happens, everything will be okay. I did also have time as a child living in a house that did not belong to anybody in my family, and none of my family was there. So I was a foster child for a while, which wasn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, there are things that I did take away from being there that I consider to be core building blocks of who I became. And I guess there's this sense of you have to be self-aware. You have to really dig down in yourself when you're healing. Rip yourself open raw. And be honest with yourself. Not in a degrading way, but be honest with yourself. The answers to all of your healing, you already possess them. It's just a matter of navigating through all of the muck in order to arrive at them. I've spent a considerable amount of my life alone. Even when people would be around me, it doesn't necessarily mean that I would interact with them. So the conversations and the interactions that I do have with people, I will often reflect on them. And I will ask myself if I could have changed anything within the interaction to make myself happier with who I was within it. You will have to break yourself down. And try to maintain normal life while you're doing that. That's very difficult. I'm also the kind of person that, since I idealized this life, I guess my perfect version is the man goes out, makes the money, the woman takes care of the home and the family, and everybody's still at home and close knit, and I didn't have none of that growing up. Like, it was arguments and moving here and moving there all of the time, and drugs and alcohol being involved with everybody around me. Like, it was just, there was, and then the people who liked children too fucking much. So I developed in my mind what I wanted out of life. And somehow, some way, I arrived at the conclusion at a very young age that in order to obtain said lifestyle or life, I would have to be a certain way. So I molded myself around becoming what my version of a perfect wife would be. Somebody who's loyal, is nurturing, takes care of everybody. Everybody. Not just her family, everybody. Somebody who cleans, cooks, make sure the bills are paid. Like, I didn't want my man to have to worry about anything else but making money. Take out the trash. Do the yard work and take care of the vehicles. Men are so underappreciated. They carry the weight of so many things they never talk about. I wanted mine to be able to be honest with me. To be able to come to me and express the things that they didn't feel like they could. Gotta be a tough guy. I spent a long time after Nick and I were married trying to break down those walls. And eventually we had a conversation. And this was after he tried to kill me. And I had started prying into my spidey senses, I guess, and figuring him out. Really figuring him out. And we talked a lot. Was, if I remember correctly, a several day long conversation where we were brutally honest with each other. I confronted him with who he was at that point. I told him, I was like, dude, you tried to fucking kill me. Like, let's not pretend that you're not a fucking monster, okay? And with the roofies and the everything else, like, let's not sit here and lie to each other's fucking faces. Be honest with me. And that was when he half-assed admitted it. He didn't come outright and admit it, but he admitted it. I wish I would have been of the mind to record it, to be honest, but I mean, during this conversation, I wish I could describe, I'm trying to put into words, like, how I want to, I'm going to pause it for a minute and figure out how I want to word this. Okay, fuck it, I guess it's just going to be easiest to be blunt. Okay, so I've been through a lot of shit, and let's just say my traumas became my kinks, okay? Maybe more on that another day. But I very much enjoy role play, okay? Very much do. And I'm the kind of woman that's like, pick my outfit today. Tell me what kind of mood you're in. What are you looking for today? Do you know me? Are we strangers? Like, I not just who am I, but set the scenario. Love this shit. And it doesn't have to be a different one every day. We can play this out for a week. We could play this out for 2 weeks. I like having fun. It's enjoyable to me. And if I'm keeping my man happy, then he has no reason to go somewhere else, right? I was wrong about that. He did that anyways just to fucking hurt me. Because he likes making women fight over him. But that's just the kind of bitch that I am. You come home from work, let me take your boots off. Let me take your socks off. I'll rub your feet. Need your dick sucked? Like, you're out there making all the fucking money. All right, you're good? All right, let me go fucking make dinner now. I didn't understand what was so wrong with those things. There's nothing fucking wrong with that. That's who I am. It is what it is. But I'm a living doll, I guess you could say. And I have very few limits, but Nick would you weren't allowed to have limits with him. So it didn't matter. And he figured out how to use those against me. And it was one of the ways he would manipulate me and shit. But I tried this whole perfect wife thing. I did. I really put my all into it. And I'm sure some people are going to be like, why would you do that for somebody that was doing this shit to you? And I was only going to get married once. And I was going to make the best of it. He had told me some things about him where I was like, okay, you know what? My ideal perfect wife self is like, that's what you want to do. You don't want me to work. You're going to go make all the money. I'll take care of the house stuff. Okay, this is what I want. Right? Okay, I'm cool with that. But he passed it off as this grand gesture of love at first, as if he was agreeing to my ideal life. And then later when I was like, no, something's off here. I really need to go make my own money and do my own thing. I need to leave because, bitch, give up your fucking dream of being perfect wife. This guy's too fucked up for you to save or help. But I was his support. He told me the goals that he wanted to accomplish, where he wanted to be, in what time frame, and I was the one that would guide him and push him to that. Because he wanted to be proud of himself. He told me who he was. And he told me he didn't want to be that person. And I agreed to help navigate him through fucking life so that he wouldn't go off killing people. he told me about the dark thoughts he had, how he would fantasize about certain things. And it as his wife, I felt obligated. I really did. I felt obligated to, like, try and keep that under wraps, to try and manage him so that I didn't come home one day and him tell me, I did it today. There's a lot of grooming that took place too. And because he would build you up, you know, he'd make you feel so good. So good. And he would talk to everybody. Like, he'd talk you up to everybody. You know, you're always with him. You have to love him. You're willing to sit in the vehicle with him. Or when he's at work all day, you're willing to sit there in the parking lot just so you can have lunch with him. Right? And a typical day with him in the beginning was very much like, let me take your shoes off and okay, let me go fucking make dinner. But then after he tries to kill you, rapes you multiple times, you don't want to do that shit for that person no more. You know, and don't get me wrong, there is such a thing as CNC, and for those in the know, I'm cool with that too. But like I said, you're not allowed to have limits. You're not allowed to have a red light. I wanted to ramble. And, you know, like, all of the things that I would have to do he would say shocking things to people, and then I would have to kind of like, smooth it over, because he just let slip that he's a fucking psychopath to somebody else. And you would figure out, like, if you didn't do this for him, maintain his shit, if somebody else caught on to him, hell would break loose in the house, and he would start blaming it on me. And, you're talking to them behind my back. No, dude, like, I don't fucking talk to your people. I don't talk to your people because I don't want this accusation. Okay? I learned. But, you know, if you have a problem, he'll make you feel bad about it and deflect and twist shit around, or he'll tell you some fucked up story about him that's like this pity me thing, and you're confused by the end of it. And you're apologizing. And, you know, this self-awareness that you have to have will come in, like, these moments where you'll kind of wake up and it feels like you've been walking around in a dream. And then one day, you know, something will strike you. And then you have these epiphanies and you start realizing, like, fuck, this is real life and this is wrong. You just kind of walk around in a daze because they keep you so disoriented. So disoriented. And I think Nick's obsession with me is because we pair well as far as like predator and prey. And I don't mean that in the BDSM community sense. I mean, literally. My ideals, my whatever you want to call it, I don't have the right word for it, beliefs on who I want to be for my man. You know, they set me up, kind of. And that doesn't mean that they've changed. I'm just way more selective with what I give to who and when I give them that, you know? But we had this conversation and I told him who I was and he told me who he was, and we realized that we paired well. And I'm not saying everything with Nick was bad. He had his moments. But he's just not normal. I'm reading my list. I think this one's good enough for now. Keep trying. I'm going to. Hopefully we'll get there soon.